it ended up quite badly in the sense that one of our largest shareholders, he instituted a hostile takeover and took over all our shares.
Hello everyone and welcome to the CxO Real Talk. I'm Mary, your host, and today I'm joined by the co-founder and group managing director of the company, Juwai IQI, which also hosts this whole podcast, CxO Real Talk, Daniel Ho.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so Daniel has certainly won quite a number of awards and he has built himself his name, and one of the awards is he got one of the top most 100 influential real estate leaders by the International Property Awards back in 2021. So yeah, and then as much as I know about you, some of our audience may not know much yet. So could you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
My name is Daniel Ho. I have been very intrigued about entrepreneurialism. I love businesses, I love entrepreneurial knowledge, and building businesses is something that I'm very passionate about. Other than that, I'm an ordinary guy from Kepong, middle class, nothing to shout about.
I like the use of the word ordinary, sounds very humble, very down to earth. So how's your morning going so far actually?
Morning has been great. Every morning I rise up quite early. Sometimes I go for runs and jogs. And I love to be able to sort of like focus myself in the early part of the morning. I think that helps me to be more productive during the day.
So what time do you actually wake up?
Like yesterday, I woke up at 5 plus,
Whoa.
so I already hit the road for a short jog by time around 6. So yeah, ready by 7 with my breakfast, and then yeah.
By chance, does Sheila come with you for your runs?
No.
Just you alone.
She ran in a dream.
Okay, no, understand about that. Okay, and talking about this morning routines and all, right? There is this thing called you should have cold showers in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you do?
I wouldn't say cold shower because the cold shower in Malaysia is pretty much not that very much cold, right? The very cold shower, I believe, it does stimulate your body to a certain extent. Every now and then, after my job, it's always, I don't turn on the heater, it's pretty warm. It doesn't feel cold to me. From time to time, I think cold shower is sort of work, but I don't think in the aspect of Malaysia, our shower is cold enough.
Yeah, that's actually quite true. So I shower lah.
But I do know the story of this Iceman. He really go on cold shower, and it's scientifically proven that it does boost up your immune system. That's very good. And of course, given the opportunity, maybe one of these days I will try.
Okay, let us know how it goes lah. Okay, so Daniel, I know you. I think you're my boss technically, and I know you as the Daniel Ho you are today. But what about the Daniel Ho back then, before IQI? Who was that Daniel Ho?
The Daniel Ho before IQI is pretty much your ordinary Kepong boy. But there are 2 milestones that is very important in my life. The first milestone is at the age of about 23. I managed to convince one of the largest French manufacturer in electrical component to hire me to manage their business operation in Malaysia. So coming from a person that does not have background in engineering, I was rather surprised. He finally selected me. Of course, I did my fair bit of presentation with my interviewer, who was my boss then. And that experience of managing an operation from the inventory into the sales and marketing, into managing people, gave me a very good understanding about managing companies. So that was my first milestone. And right after that, not long, I had bigger dreams. So I decided to go into business, and we have collectively, bring in a group of founders, a group of shareholders, and we just decided to set up our own manufacturing plant in oleochemical. And in order to do that, I need to raise 100 million to basically build my first business. It was full of trials and challenges. It was a very difficult moment because every year we talked to many investors, we were rejected. So we were rejected for a total of 4.5 years. Right at the end of 4.5 years, finally we managed to convince and secure the 100 million funding. And we ended up, built that particular company of ours, and I'm able to see, the manufacturing plant, started from ground zero, and then you put on the foundation, you put on the structure until we are in operation.
Wow, that's really impressive. 1 million.
100 million.
100 million. Not just 1 million, 100 million. Wow. And after you emerged into IKEA, you choose, it's a real estate business. So when coming into this different industry from manufacturing to real estate, was it something you chose out of passion, or was it what was practicality, like thinking about how would the finance background and how would have been?
Transitioning from my first business to my second business, of course, by the time when the factory is in operation, running, we managed to secure a good sum of orders from multinational companies, and some of our clients are in fact in the Fortune 500 companies. But then again, there is something very important that I learned from my first business, is that when you have partners coming in working together, like a company is a separate entity. They call it a company, and organization is an entity. And individually, we are also an entity as a person. So when we come into partnership and we do not consciously define the corporation as an entity, what sort of DNA that the corporation should have, what sort of mindset that the corporation should have, what sort of heart set that the company should have. And when all these partners coming in together thinking about I, me and myself, eventually, there bound to be problems. So from my first setup, it ended up quite badly, in the sense that one of our largest shareholders, he instituted a hostile takeover and took over all our shares. So from that experience, and from that lesson that I've learned, it is very important to align and define the DNA of a company first before you start any business. So the transitioning of first business to second business, the lesson that I learned, I implement it in IQI.
I see, wow. And how many businesses have you created so far before IQI?
Not many. This is one of it. Before that, I was in some trading business, which I did pretty well. That is where I am able to sort of build my capital base and invested into this manufacturing business. Because for 4.5 years of rejection from investors, practically, I don't have any source of income. So, these are one of the areas that is able to pull me through, saving through during my trading years, in business. And that's how it goes.
And do you still trade today as well?
No longer. I basically, when I move into the manufacturing aspect, I have to put all of my eggs into one basket, and that's how it goes.
I see. And you mentioned just now you had different partners, and each partner is an entity on their own. So when it comes to a business, everybody must be like-minded. How did you actually deal working with different people?
When we are young, we make a lot of foolish mistakes, right? So when I was young, I wasn't aware there is such thing as company culture, right? The DNA of an organization is important. Those are the unseen, intangible aspect that can make or break a company. So I just went with the flow. So that is why, during my first business is, whatever personality that each of the partners have, we lack those personality, sort of rise up. And remarkably human, we are able to care for people. But at the same time, on the other hand, human can be very selfish. We have the potential to be very selfish. And human have all this capacity. In my first business, we did not consciously decide to outline that we want to highlight all the good attributes what human can achieve. So we just allow, if one of our shareholders is very selfish, is only thinking about I, me and myself, then that dynamics, is sort of replicated in the rest of the partners. So everybody start thinking for themselves. So then essentially it transfer into the organization. Then the organization will soak up this bad culture. And imagine if you have all your C-level, your executive and your staff, having the same sort of feeling, same sort of culture that thinks about me and myself, then it is not going to be very fruitful.
So IKEA is very different.
That is why when we started IQI along with our current partners right now, we talk a lot about the DNA that we want to cover in IQI. And that is why, you know, my tuition fees has been very expensive. What I learned there, you know, and the lesson that I learned is implemented here.
That's good. And also, you work with different people, right?
Mhm.
How did you adapt with their working style?
Right now, you know, like, you know, partnership is like marriage.
Yeah.
So I'm a married man, and I knew my wife since kindergarten. There is a lot of give and take, and you learn how to carve a journey that everyone can really be very passionate about. You carve a journey that everyone can be absolutely very excited about. And from there on, you know, like at the same time, you know, we must have an attitude of generosity and very forgiving attitude. So people make mistakes, people make blunders every now and then. So I think it's important to forget, forgive, but strive on and really learn how to enjoy. Live in the moment and really create many moments of joy and happiness along the way. Because in this world of entrepreneurial, it's pretty hard building a business.
It's not easy now. Talking about marriage, because you're married now, and your wife is also in the company, like Sheila is here. How does it feel like having your business and family come together?
Yeah, I've been asked this question many times. I literally leave work 24 hours with Sheila. After work,
After work, exactly.
we go back home, right? And it is an absolute joy. As I said, human is capable of doing just about everything. And for me, being married to Sheila, together, husband and wife, right? It is just not on the marriage part, we are partnering each other. But it is a life partnering that we are looking at. And yeah, I'm very fortunate to have her.
So it was, I'm sure, not smooth sailing the whole time, right? There's a bit of bumps when it comes to the business side with your partner.
We rarely, I'm blessed, we rarely argue. And when we argue, we make it a point that whatever argument we do not carry forward the next day. So we got to be settled on the same day.
Everything habis today.
Yes, everything happens today and we still got to sleep together.
Kau think don't have already,
Yeah. We don't use the couch as my bed, I don't use the couch as for her, you know.
Ah, that's
So we have to patch up and, you know, move on. And we have been very matured enough to really, you know, carry out our business and our private life in such a manner.
That's really, really good. I think a lot of marriages should learn from you also lah.
I don't know about that.
Alright. So now, Daniel, if you could go back to your younger self, your teenage self, okay? What is that one habit you wish you could start implementing at a young age?
I would probably want to learn how to even cultivate giving more. I think that is very important. One of the things that I find out now is the more we are able to give, the more we will receive. It sounds counterintuitive, but as I grow in business, as I grow in maturity, as I see how we implement, how we build our business, and how we look at, in many ways, we want to give more to our agents. In many ways, we want to give more to the community, to the clients. We ended up receiving a lot more. And this is something that, I pick it up.
You give and then get back tenfold, something like that.
Something like that.
And as a businessman in this modern age and all, what is the one advice you would tell people not to do? Like you would not give, ask people not to do this.
Of course, at the other expand opposite is the I, me and myself attitude. I think it's very important not to prioritize self too much. It is important to think about that, but too many times someone, you know, when they want to start something, it's like they're going to ask themselves, what am I going to get out of this? Like in a relationship, right? If I were to, typically if someone is going to date, say for example, a guy going to date a girl, the guy will ask, what am I going to get out of this? The girl, if the girl have the same mentality or thought, it's like, what am I going to get out of him? Then it is a very, I would say, I think it is quite unhealthy if that persists, because everybody is thinking about themselves. But rather than this sort of thinking, but to adopt a mentality where what can I contribute to the betterment of the other person? What can I contribute to enrich the life of the other person? So if there is reciprocity, both sides, and that relationship eventually will become very healthy.
Wow, that's actually really good. I think it's not business advice to give relationship advice now. I'm getting it for myself personally. I'm like, wow.
That's how my partnership with Sheila lasted so long. I know her since kindergarten. We were friends in primary school, we were friends in secondary school until when we go to college, I fell in love, she fell in love. And it's so many years, and I am very blessed to have her because she is one person that is very selfless. I learned this so much from her. Time and again, she looked into the aspect of what can she give to enrich my life. And what can she give to be supportive? I still remember the time when I was building my first business. Imagine, every year, investors say no. Every single appointment, every single day, you meet investors say no. When I go home, rather than she being a naggy wife and say, where's the food on the table? Where's the money? Why are you chasing, lofty dream? You have been chasing it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years with no income. Hey, never a word after like that. All she said is, have faith, trust in the Lord. He will provide. I will support you, no matter what. What more can I ask?
That's the biggest blessing.
Yeah.
One of the biggest blessing. Wow, I'm getting so overwhelmed. Then I think next podcast we should call you for relationship advice.
Okay, sure. In my own small little way, I will contribute.
Amazing. I like to hear that. It was very nice. So one more last question before we wrap it up. You have your daughter yourself as well. And what would you tell, if you have to give an advice to the younger generation, would you advise them to go for passion, do what they're passionate about? Or would you ask them to rather chase practicality, like look into the financial side?
I would frame it this way. Go for something that you are absolutely passionate about. But at the same time, whatever your passion that you're going after, make sure it can be financially rewarding. It is very important to balance these two elements because I cannot say that money is not important and disregard money, just chase passion. But wouldn't it be great if you can have both for chase whatever that you are absolutely passionate, make sure that financially it is rewarding. If you have not found such an area, try harder. There's always something that you can be very passionate about. And then make sure that it is financially rewarding so that at the end of the day, the third element that I want to add on is execution. You execute it like nobody's else business. You execute it so well that your passion plus execution will generate a lot of commercial success.
Really well said, I'll put it out. Amazing. Right, thank you so much, Daniel. That was such an amazing session. I'm still overwhelmed with what you said about your wife.
My pleasure.
It's amazing. This whole session, it gave us an idea of who you are, not just as the face of IQI, but your life. I never knew all that. I'm sure most of the people in IQI don't even know that. It's really nice to see Daniel as a humble person, like somebody, like an individual rather than as an entrepreneur, the face of a company.
Yeah, sometimes being the face of the company, we follow too many glossy printed material, right? But very much, we are very much ordinary people, and I'm here to say that, every ordinary people have this immense power within them, that they can really realize their dream. They just got to chase it harder, believe it, and make sure whatever decision that they want to make, those decisions can be financially rewarding. So you want to align all these components together, then we will have a more fulfilling life, I think.
Yes. Very raw and authentic. I like it. So good.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate you joining us and being a guest on our show and sharing your insight and some knowledge. And thank you as well for our subscribers and our listeners who are listening to this podcast. We hope that you actually managed to get a few pointers out of this. And be sure to subscribe to IQI Global's YouTube channel, and you can listen to this podcast on Spotify podcast as well, along together with YouTube. We'll see you in the next CxO Real Talk. Till then, take care.